This award recognizes visionaries whose contributions have had lasting and significant impact on the state and its technology ecosystem. Trailblazers are among the state's most inspiring and influential players. They are innovative risk takers whose achievements and bold leadership are catalysts for tech growth and success. Winners have included Angie Hicks, Scott McCorkle, Don Brown, and Scott Dorsey, and many others, including last year's winner, John Wexler. A couple of weeks ago, we announced this year's Trailblazer Award winner, Indiana Governor Eric Holcomb. Governor Holcomb. Thank you, sir.
The mic is on, so I better be careful.
It is on. I want to say, I'm going to go off script here for a minute. There are a lot of awards, a lot of events that you have to attend, and there are a lot of awards as the governor. Some of them symbolic, some of them not. And I think what's special about this award is that it's not a symbolic award just because of your station. It's very genuinely because of the work that you've done over the course of the past several years. And having come from the tech community personally, I didn't have a whole lot of experience in the governmental sector. But what I can say, and I want everybody to know in the crowd, all of these notable achievements, Scott listed them off in the video. What I've learned is, how those things get done through the process, and a lot of it was in collaboration with folks on your team, like Micah, who's here. We got some really good stuff done, like the Next Level Fund. But what I realized was that none of that stuff would get done if you had not made it a priority. The governor has a substantial power to be able to set forth priorities at the beginning of a legislative session, which helps to drive what happens in the ensuing session. And every one of those things that we can chalk up as victories were because you put them as a priority, and as a result, they were a priority in the session. And I know that we've got everything from venture capital covered to a lot of other things. And I think the one thing most recently is the bias crimes law. And I know that none of us, many of us in the room who were really close to that, we didn't get all that we wanted. The enumerated list was not the full list that we all wanted. It was not the full list that you wanted either. But what I realized, and thanks to a phone call from you a couple weeks ago, was just kind of how this got done and the difficulty in ultimately getting it done, and that what was most important of taking what was formerly just a reporting requirement and turning it into a sentencing enhancement, and getting a bill that speaks to all, covers all, but also has an enumerated list, moves us forward 25 years. We've been talking about this for 25 years, and now it's on the books. Now we just have to work to expand the list. But thank you for all of your leadership and all those accomplishments. Thank you.
Well, what a wonderful spirit. It's more than a vibe in this room. It's a spirit that is flowing. And thank you, Mike, for your words. Thanks to all my friends and mentors that were in that video. Thanks to the entire TechPoint team. This is a tremendous honor. And it's seeing some of the friends that were in that video that I'm very, very close to. Hearing what they have to say, this certainly, obviously, is not going to be a moment I'll ever forget. And I do want to just say very quickly, I feel unequal to this specific award. And believe me, that is not false modesty. That's not that Midwestern modesty that we're all known for. When I looked at the names of prior recipients, like Dorsey and McCorkle and Jones and Weber, and that's just the Scots. I mean, and you got Wexler, who you mentioned, Pike High School's in the house, and McRobbie and Brown and Becker and Hill and Hicks, and the list just goes on and on and on. You get the point. I'm following in the footsteps of giants, obviously, up to this stage. And these giants are still blazing trails, still inspiring others, still making Indiana, in their own and different ways, a more vibrant state. And from my view here from the podium, it reminds me of what a truly special place our state is, and what a very special time we all find ourselves living. to be among that list of trailblazers, and many that have filled this room and have gone before us from those very early days when we were pioneering our way out of the wilderness to the pioneers of today, you all who are doing all the exploring and all the discovering and are telling us how and when we're going to go to next. And to get there faster, what Mike just said, we listened to the very force multipliers, the tech community of this new economy. And we said, not just over the last 20 years, but really over the last few years, we said we've got to adapt our toolbox to keep up if we're going to be increasingly an even more inspiring place to live, work, play, and grow roots and turn it over, a more attractive place to grow, so to speak, in short. And that's the why we've done all these things that Mike mentioned and that Scott and the others in the video, to grow as a people and as a state, so that in turn, you all at Salesforce can sponsor the Fever, or you all at Emphasis can revitalize and redevelop, Mayor, the old Indianapolis airport, or tutor in our schools and pass it on. The synergy in this room, as Mary Kay said, the synergy in this room is a powerful, powerful influence for good. And it is truly an honor to be just around that. And believe me, I know my role, this current role and this current post that I hold, is not to invent the next big thing. My responsibility is to make sure, as Mike said, that this state is best equipped for you all and those who come after you all to invent that next best thing, or maybe even reinvent that next best thing. I'm reminded very quickly of a conversation Mike and I had just down the road in India, of all places, in an airport waiting room, and we talked about how we could make the state of Indiana even more competitive and more attractive for entrepreneurs and investors. And we talked about boosting, and we talked about catching and climbing and launching and leveraging and scaling. See, I was listening. That was all in about the first 5 minutes. You know, when Mike gets going, he really gets going. But we talked about our desire, really, to create some real separation between us and the competition right here on Hoosier soil. And we talked about the need for more funding or access to more capital. And we talked about the need for more K through 12 computer science courses offered in every school in our state. And we talked about how to connect with the most vulnerable, or the folks who have never had a first chance to go back to that last mile program. And we talked about what it would take for us to continue this momentum and continuing to aspire to take it to the next level. And all that has been happening thanks to this room and rooms like this scattered all across our state. But even so, more importantly in my mind, all those list of progress that you just ticked off, I think most importantly, it is sending a message to people around the world that in Indiana, you can get a world-class education, you can connect with something that you're passionate about, you can do it right here in this state. And it doesn't matter from what walk in life that you come from or what station in life that you currently occupy, you are welcome here, and you are going to thrive here, and you're going to be surrounded by people who care about your progress. And we see that. There's probably an example at your table right now that fits into that category. And this proof is truly in this room tonight that we could cite example after example. I'm also reminded that whether it's 20 years or 3 years, the great philosopher Bob Dylan once said that there is nothing so stable as change. And that really is our charge. And so I'll never look at this recognition that I'm receiving tonight as a capstone of any sorts. It's going to be a permanent reminder that we have to keep changing, we have to keep adapting, and we have to keep making sure that we're keeping pace with you all as a state. Because I know that in this dynamic economy that every business is business plus tech. And so therefore you ought to expect that your government needs to be tech-oriented as well. And so please know that the state is also committed to being a pacer, if you will. And that's why I'm thrilled equally as much that you've also recognized the innovative work that our team is doing to modernize state government with tonight's nominations for the MPH, for the Management and Performance Hub, and for the Commission for Higher Education. It encourages us all to keep the pedal to the metal. Now, I understand that it is literally me that is keeping you from the bar reopening. So I'll land this plane. Thank you all so much. I'm honored to be on this team.
Thank you, Governor.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it, brother.
Thank you.